to the Rock Newman Show 2.0. Once again, this is Wednesday, and on Wednesday, we're bringing you Wellness Wednesday. We're going to continue to do this each Wednesday until the week, the Wednesday before September the 16th, where in Washington, D.C., we will have a free all natural health fair and seminar. It is titled, as you see on the screen, Disease Free in 23. And the Minister of Wellness Ministries and myself, Rock Newman Show 2.0, we will be bringing you this in order to try to impact and improve your health and to save your life. The messenger, the minister, Nathaniel Jordan, will be the keynote speaker. And I want you to look back at that title, Disease Free in 23. Nathaniel has researched and he has studied. He's paid the cost, paid the price to be one of the most knowledgeable wellness practitioners in the world now. He has been bringing this health message to many for several years now. There are many testimonials that he has from people who felt as if they had nothing else to live for and practiced his program, practiced his teaching and coaching, and have healed themselves from all kinds of maladies. You can find those testimonials, not just listen to my saying that they exist. You can find those testimonials from very real people who had very real problems and now have gotten incredible, successful results of eradicating the problems and the diseases and the maladies that they had. Nathaniel Jordan, welcome again to Wellness Wednesday and the Rock Newman Show 2.0.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me as always, Brother Rock. And for those tuning in now and after the fact, we welcome you all. And we actually have 3 more left leading up. 3 more. We have today, next week. So we're down to the final few weeks. And brothers and sisters, want to remind you all that there will be no live stream. It will not be televised because we want you to come in person. And based on some information that I'm getting about possible incoming lockdowns, it's even more critical that you make every effort that you can to come on out September the 16th. So make the sacrifice and be there because we don't know what's going to happen after this date. The ministerofwellness.com under health seminars, the ministerofwellness.com under health seminars. And please do the 3 things that you can do without costing you anything for free to help this message to spread. That is to hit the like button because that helps it spread throughout the algorithm. Then that is also to share this video with anybody you know that has battled cancer, concerned about cancer. And that's everybody listening. Everybody tuning in knows someone or has some concern about cancer. So share this video and then make sure you subscribe to the Rock Newman Show 2.0. And so what they tell us, as always, Brother Rock, is as the old saying goes, when it rains on white people, it storms on black people, or something to that effect. And it's the same thing with cancer. Cancer is a word that has terrified, has wreaked so much havoc and caused so much terror throughout the black community that before we came on, you were trying to think of a term that black people used to say for cancer because it's treated like a boogeyman.
Yes. Yeah. I asked you, and I kind of figured you were a little bit too young because I'm talking 50s and 60s when I know that folks in my family and in the community, you know, when someone had cancer, it was hush hush. I called a good friend of mine and it's good to see if he could remember. And he didn't remember, but his response was, I know if somebody had it, they always said, you know, don't talk about it, which clearly points to because it was such a taboo word, it was a taboo matter that people kept it secret. So when you say the Black cancer crisis, I would even suggest that in our community, we are very undercounted
Yes.
because families stay with tradition and don't talk about it nearly as much. And that, of course, I think that, disinfected and a strong light shining on the subject, as you're trying to do here now, to explain why you coined today's phrase, today's broadcast as the Black cancer crisis. It is something that I very much welcome, because I want us to get out of the dark ages
Yes.
of whispering
Yeah.
and talking about this scourge. And
Yes.
Nate, I'm gonna give you the floor, man. I say it is a scourge. I remember 20 plus years ago, and so many times before and afterwards, but I'm thinking about one particular sweetheart of a lady who was kind of the backbone of a community, the backbone of the Riddick Bowe team, uh, um, Miss June Brooks, married to my very best friend Bernard Brooks, and she was a robust woman. Everyone loved her. No one had anything bad to say about her, and she ended up with cancer and shriveled to the point where she was absolutely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling hostile, as she was going through that. And then ultimately, when she met her day of demise and transition, and thinking, we spend this billions and billions and billions of dollars with the military and going to the moon and going to other planets and all of those things, and we can't eradicate cancer.
Yeah.
And I was angry, because my sense was, I'm not an expert in this stuff, but I got a little bit of common sense. My sense was, there is not, if it's not intentional, there is not the proper intention to be able to solve the problem of cancer. So take the floor, my brother, and talk about, its causes, and especially in the Black community, and what our audience should be aware of.
Yeah, they turned cancer, they turned it into this boogeyman disease where people, the only type of disease that people are more afraid of than cancer are viruses or infectious diseases. And big pharma and the medical establishment have colluded to have this cloud of mysticism surrounding cancer, as if it just happens for no cause whatsoever, so that they can monopolize what they deem as the only solutions for it, which is chemotherapy and radiation. So they speak of cancer as if it's something that just comes from nothing. And so therefore we have to wage this war against it. And everybody's looking for this miracle cure when most people don't even know what cancer is. And what I've noticed, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was going to say, when you say most people don't know what cancer is,
Yeah.
you're probably right. And I want to ask you, in your interpretation, what is cancer?
Yes, sir. So cancer is simply, as you see on this screen, the growth and spread of abnormal cells. That is all it is. Again, the medical, or what I call the medicine establishment, they thrive on fear. And what I've noticed as the minister of wellness, Brother Rock, is that they censor me mostly when I'm trying to educate people about diseases that they, through their propaganda, have stoked people with ignorance and fear. And people are terrified of cancer. and they want you to stay in fear so that if you get it, instead of using logic to figure out why or your sales divide, what you see on the screen, Brother Rock, that's it. That's all it is. It's nothing more complicated than what's on the screen. You have sales that are normal. Something happens to cause those sales to mutate, and then those mutated sales become malignant and start to multiply. Brother Rock, it is just as simple as that. So why is something this simple causing so much fear instead of us asking the 1 + 1 = 2 question of what causes a cell to go from normal to malignant? And then even if it becomes malignant, why does it multiply? And the reason why, as the minister of wellness, the reason why I have a deep-seated hatred for the European medicine industry is because they want people to believe that God created our bodies to malfunction and that he did not give us any solutions to keep our bodies healthy. So therefore, when the malfunction that God screwed up at in creating our bodies happens, we then have to depend on them for solutions that really end up killing people. And I'm saying that that's not true. So the basic question is, Brother Rock, why does somebody's cells go from normal to cancerous, meaning malignant?
Yeah,
so
I was going to ask you to take this step by step. We're looking at that normal cell there, and then we're looking at a cancer cell.
Right.
And what contributes to it going from a normal cell to a cancer cell?
I did a video on the top 6 causes of cancer, and they got removed. Every time I have to be very careful. The V word, the VACCINES, they censor me on that, and then they censor me on cancer. So again, family, please like and share this video. So we have trillions of cells in our body, trillions and trillions of cells. The building blocks of our body are cells. So our hair, our skin, our organs are made up literally. In Black people, we have, Brother Rock, over 90 trillion cells. 90 trillion cells make up the human body. Now, God gave us an immune system, or called a lymphatic system. It's the same thing. The immune system's job, Brother Rock, is that whenever a normal cell becomes old, becomes rotten, or starts to become malignant, that's normal. That's actually a normal process because our bodies are constantly evolving, constantly growing, and as we age, so our cells are constantly replenishing.
Constantly, we shedding and get new ones.
There you go. So during that shedding process, Brother Rock, is nothing wrong with it going from normal to quote unquote cancerous, because as long as your immune system is working properly, when it sees those cancerous cells, it just replaces them. It's called apoptosis, where it kills that cells, replace it with a new one. That is happening 24/7. So the concern is not that the normal cell becomes a cancer cell, because if you have a strong immune system, it'll get rid of the cancer cell and just replace it. No, sir. The question is, Brother Rock, why does the cancer cell not get killed by the immune system? Why does it not go away? Why does that cancer cell stay there in the body? And then why is it allowed to start to grow? And then check this out. It's not even so much as why does it even become a tumor? The worst part is that not only does it become malignant, so that clump right there of cancer cell, that's a tumor. Really, the signifying definition of cancer is that it then spreads. And that's a part of the cancer hoax, because cancer means that it's spreading. So they have all of these names: throat cancer, liver cancer, stomach cancer, rectum cancer. But Once it's cancerous, it spreads. So what difference does it make if it started in your throat? Once it spreads, as you stated with the lady, cancer cells eat on sugar, and sugar is the fuel for our cells. And so cancer cells suck the life out of all the rest of the cells. So it's not like if you have throat cancer, Brother Rock, that all your throat will just shrivel up like a chicken neck and then you die. No, it spreads throughout the rest of your body. So the end result is that what I'm saying is that the end result is that at the end of their life, you can't tell the difference between a throat cancer patient and a pancreatic cancer patient. They're going to look the same when they die, shriveled up. So why even come up with all of these thousands of names? You know why? For money, that's why. And so the question is, why did the immune system, why did this whole process occur? Because that whole process, Brother Rock, from going from a normal cell to a cancer cell that won't get killed, so the cancer cell doesn't die, then it becomes a tumor, then it spreads, then it stops spreading. That takes about 20, 30 years to happen. Why? When the immune system is supposed to stop that, why isn't the immune system stopping that? That's the $1 million question that they don't want us to know.
Okay, Nate, I've got to just stay right with that. That's the gazillion-dollar question. They don't know what they don't want us to know. Through your research and practice, have you figured out what you think is the answer to that question?
I have, and it's been figured out for hundreds of years, but they censor people heavily. And the answer is that the immune system becomes weakened through toxic overload. Toxic overload. When you are putting too much pollution on your immune system, it weakens it. And when you overload your immune system and you do not give your immune system, which is composed of all sorts of organs and cells, really, again, the immune system and the lymphatic system are the same. And when you overload your immune system with too much toxicity versus giving your immune system what it needs to be able to do its job, it loses its power. How are we overloading our immune system with toxicity that's causing this cancer epidemic to where now they say half of all men, half of all women will develop cancer in their lifetime? So what is the biggest toxic overload that we face in America that we can link directly to a weakened immune system? So in the end, brothers and sisters, understand this. This cancer is nothing more than another immunodeficiency disease. Again, this is why I cannot stand the European medicine industry, because they complicate things that should not be complicated. Cancer is an immunodeficiency disease. The immune system loses its ability to keep the cells clean. That's all it is, because it's being overloaded. And the first way that we overload our immune system, Brother Rock, is right here on the screen, the satanic American diet. So one of the first steps, if the government, which I think in 1970, Richard Nixon declared the war on cancer, and now what's this, 53 years later, and the war, and we still so-called looking for an answer to cure. If they really cared about eradicating cancer, they would systematically eradicate anything that weakens the immune system, and that would start with this garbage on the screen. But me and you both know that there's a multi-trillion-dollar effort to pump this food into people to keep them addicted to it. They ain't trying to solve nothing.
You know, Nate, it was just today that I posted a picture on Facebook. That's I'm on there, talking about various subjects. But I posted a picture with one of my nieces today, and as I'm hearing you say this, first of all, you're making sense, man, and it saddens me that when I say niece, I'm at an age now to have a large enough family. I had 7 brothers and sisters. I had one brother he and his wife had 8 kids in 9 years. So they got a lot of limbs to that tree, you know. So I now I have nieces, I have great nieces, I have great nieces. I think I have great nieces and nephews. And I don't have any doubt whatsoever that my family members, keeping it personal for a moment, that my family members adore and absolutely love their children. Was it somebody said we shall perish for lack of knowledge?
Yep, Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Yes, sir.
So there's no doubt. I have no doubt, and I'll fight somebody to say, you know, that they don't love their kids. But that what you just had on the screen, that garbage that you just had on the screen, that and a whole lot worse is sometimes what I see them eating and having fun and, you know, consuming. And as I hear you say these cancer cells, I never thought of a cancer cell. When I've thought about cancer,
yeah,
I've never thought of it as being a 10, 20, 30-year process.
Yeah.
But when you just, as you're defining this now, and I'm thinking about those precious babies.
Yeah.
I'm thinking right now, they're being introduced to the kind of diet and consuming the kind of diet that by the time they get 30 or 40 years old, that diet will have contributed to so many diseases, including this one that we in our community still really don't want to have a robust conversation about cancer. That, you know, when they're eating the cheese doodle and drinking the Pepsi to wash it down, when they're going and getting the Happy Meal, and look at what they call it. Look at what they call it. The Happy Meal. The Happy Meal that is contributing to your death starting at a very young age. I remember I managed a fighter, Dwight Braxton. He later became Dwight Muhammad Kawi. He and his wife Tracy had a son in like 84. Dee Dee and my wife and I were the godparents. And we loved that little baby, and he loved us, and he stayed with us a lot. And at 3 years old, I remember him at 3 years old, he saw in the distance the Golden Arches. And he literally started squealing, McDonald's. And when we rode past the McDonald's, he cried as if he had gotten a terrible whipping.
Wow.
It was as if he was look, I don't know if he was addicted, but he was obsessed. And everywhere we went, when we were coming back, he was like, "Can you go that way where that McDonald's is?" And I'm just thinking about what a problem. What a very real problem. What a diabolical unfolding that is happening, where of course I use him as an example, and he's a microcosm of what millions of kids in this country, and especially in our community, how they act about what they consume.
Takes decades to get to this point, and cancer is the leading cause of death in children under 14, Brother Rock. the leading cause of death in children. As a matter of fact, the leading cause of death in babies, Brother Rock, when babies make it past the womb, unless they die from an accident, the leading cause of death of babies in America is cancer. We have entire hospitals being built for childhood cancer, such as St. Jude Hospital. When cancer development to get from that normal cell to that spreading tumor is a 30, 40-year process, which means that really what the child was eating, what the mother was eating in the womb. And one of the things that they have identified, this is to tell you how satanic these people are, and how any person, especially Black people, that believe that these people are really trying to help you out with cancer. Again, I just did a video on the top 6 causes of cancer, and they censored me. Just because I'm telling people what causes cancer, because they want you to stay in fear. Because the only disease that's more terrifying to Black people than cancer are viruses. And they love diseases of fear. I can talk about heart disease all day. Why is it that I can talk about heart attack and diabetes all day, Brother Rock, but as soon as I try to give some solutions about cancer, what is it about cancer that makes them always censor anyone that comes out with the truth about how we could win the war on this disease? Because it's cloaked in mysticism. And whenever they present something as this unknown enemy, this religious fervor takes over us to where all logic goes out of the window, to where we just go into a stupor, and they don't like people to break people out of that stupor. And so one of the key elements that even they know in strengthening the immune system to protect children from dying from cancer is a natural nutrient called folate. Now, folate is found in fruits and vegetables, what God created. Folate. Here's what the medicine, big pharma, and the cancer industry has done. Instead of telling pregnant women to eat their fruits and vegetables filled with folate that has been directly found to affect the ability of the cells to develop normally, they give them a pill called folic acid. But the folic acid does not have the same effects as the folate that God put in the fruits and vegetables. As a matter of fact, the folic acid has been linked to birth defects. And so that's an example of how these people don't have a care in the world when it comes to really finding actual solutions to help people to strengthen their immune system, so that then their immune system is strong enough to where we could win this so-called war on cancer. I get sick of watching these movies and then putting this disease on a doggone pedestal like it's just some unconquerable monster. Listen, there was no cancer epidemic 200-300 years ago. This cancer epidemic is a result of this toxic food we're living in, and the toxification of our water and the air supply. And they know this and they don't care. But every movie I watch, somebody will win a Nobel Peace Prize if they find a cure for cancer, and find a cure. You know, it's not up to, this is a disease that is born of a malfunction of our failure to do what we're supposed to naturally do. That's the answer to this. But Brother Rock, most people, I'm getting the impression from you that at 71 years old, with your vast experience with traveling the world and being around the best doctors, I'm getting the impression from you that a little old preacher from St. Louis just simplified this for you more than you've actually heard.
Well, you know, go beyond getting an impression, because, you know, I'm far from a medical doctor. I'm far from having the kind of doing the kind of research and understanding and education that, you know, you have come upon through your extensive research. You know, I don't have a medical degree, but I got some common sense. and you're making a lot of sense to me. Whether or not a medical doctor would come and challenge you, and let me just say something about that. Let me just say something about that. I've actually spoken to a couple of medical doctors, and they know that we have an alliance, that I'm working with you, getting your health message out. I want to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And generically, they have talked about people not with degrees, just like whether it's Dr. Sebi or so many other people who attempt to get people healthy through natural means. They're dismissed as a quack. When I have asked, and it hadn't been a lot, but it's been a couple, to come on and debate you, they don't do it. They say, I'm not gonna waste my time. I don't waste my time with no quackery like that. And you know what? I know that doesn't make sense. I did send one of them a couple of the testimonies, and frankly, they got kind of salty with me, and I don't care. I seek the truth, and so part of what I see happening here, and is you as a minister. When I think about ministers, we touched on this a couple of shows ago. When I think about ministers and leaders in our community, I see you, and I made a note because I didn't want to forget it. I see you creating a lane with your ministry. One of your books or one of your whatever it is says you are teaching biblical principles about nutrition, and I talked to a couple of my friends about this, and look, I want to look at my audience as my friends, so I'm talking to you all about this. Think back, who amongst your ministers, your church, your synagogue, when you practice Jumu'ah on Friday in the mosque,
mm-hmm.
who has really, what leader, what teacher, what minister has really attempted to focus you on your health and preventing yourself from allowing these cancer cells to multiply? I'm not saying that to knock anyone. I'm saying that to acknowledge, Nate, I think you are creating a revolutionary lane when it comes to preaching. Because this whole preaching of salvation and all of that, and even if we go back to a Reverend Ike, and Reverend Ike was like, hey, I ain't all that salvation. I ain't looking for a pie in the sky. I'm looking for my pie to live well here.
Amen.
I see you creating, man, a lane that's revolutionary. And anytime anyone has introduced something that is not of the general thought, that is not customary, that is not traditional, you're met with scorn. If a truck hits me when I walk out the door tomorrow, I'm gonna keep on walking, and the truck is gonna collapse. No, but my point is, man, if I don't get to see you or say anything, I just want to encourage you in this moment. Stay the course, brother. Stay the course. Stay the course, because it is so desperately needed amongst our people. And I fully expect that you're going to be recognized in time as a very, very important leader that is spreading a word in our community, the word that is very, very needed. So I wanted to say that. And then I want to deal with a couple of things you said here, and even something that I heard you say
Yes, sir.
at another time. I made a note early in this conversation, and it was simply when you talked about chemo, I've had too many people close to me who have taken a lot of chemo, lost their hair, been sick, and all the rest because they had breast cancer. Did I hear you at some point mention that be careful about mammograms, or can you touch on the subject and give us your thoughts on the proliferation of breast cancer and all that goes with that?
Yes, it's again, they profit from fear, and it's a money making racket. Cancer is big business. It's a money making racket. And so again, with breast cancer, one of the big things, one of the leading causes of why Black people get more aggressive forms and die from cancer more quickly than white people is because of melanin. And because that melanin blocks vitamin D from the sun, when we don't get the vitamin D that we need, and it causes our the cancer cells to become more aggressive. So one of the keys for Black people for strengthening their immune system is to make sure that you are sufficient in vitamin D3 levels, which you also need to take with vitamin K2. And also want to, let everyone know to please like, and share if you haven't, and subscribe to the Rock Newman Show 2.0 if you have not. This is extremely important conversation. And so breast cancer is the growth and spread of abnormal cells in the breast. Those cells have been going abnormal because of a weakened immune system for decades and decades and decades. Now, because they profit from fear and from chemo and radiation, they don't want there to be any true prevention to cancer. If they truly prevented cancer, $1 billion industry would collapse. So what they do is they use these screening methods such as mammography. The purpose of a mammogram is to scare women. It's not to provide life-saving treatments. The purpose of you going to your doctor is for them to see how much money they can make from you. They're not concerned with anything else except you come there, what's wrong with you, how can we profit from what's wrong with you? And the mammogram is a perfect tool for that, because what it detects, Brother Rock, is it detects the malignant cancer cells that haven't spread yet. And that's actually ductal carcinoma in situ. So actually, it's kind of a misnomer, even on this photo, for them to call a malignant cell cancer. That cancer cell should be called malignant. And just because a cancer cell is malignant doesn't mean it's cancer. The definition of cancer is that it's spread. It's not until it starts spreading. Until it starts spreading, that's when you really want to stop it in its tracks before it's spread. Once it's spread, then their solutions, which is chemo and radiation, while it funnels in billions of dollars to them, even if you do a basic Google search, it will list you the extraordinary, dangerous, toxic side effects of chemotherapy, which they discovered during World War I or World War II, when they realized that mustard gas was very effective as a biological weapon. So chemotherapy is a biological weapon. And then radiation, it fries your heart, fries your kidney, fries your brain. Most cancer patients die from the treatments, but then they'll put on your death certificate that you died from the cancer. So women are being terrified into chopping their breast off, mutilating their breast, and they've been brainwashed to believe that a mammogram is what saves your life. No, the mammogram is detecting something that probably isn't cancer. And then if it does detect something that's cancerous, it's been there for 10, 20 years. The question is, are there ways to detect cancer in your breast and your prostate before it spreads? And the answer is yes. And that's another piece of knowledge that they don't want people to know. They don't want you to know that cancer is from a weakened immune system. They don't want you to know that you can strengthen your immune system naturally. They don't want you to know that there are ways to detect the cancer far earlier than relying on a PSA and on a mammogram. And they don't want you to know how inaccurate those screenings are. And then even if you do have cancer, they don't want you to know that there are natural ways that you can treat your cancer. And that's not me stating that. That's doctors stating that. I learned this information from doctors who have bucked their brainwash training, and they have committed their lives to telling the truth. This is just one of the many documentaries, and everyone in this documentary, Brother Rock, is a medical doctor, and they have, I've sent you one of the clinics in the past, and they have clinics that are hidden from that are not even allowed in America, where they have documented extraordinary success with helping people with their cancer without chemo, without radiation. This man right here, this is a medical doctor in Houston that discovered a peptide that kills the development of cancer. And what is the result? Does he get a Nobel Peace Prize? No, they trying to throw him in prison. So, it never ceases to amaze me. It never ceases to amaze me, and I want to, and everybody watching, go and watch this documentary. But it never ceases to amaze me, Brother Rock, the power of fear. If I tell our people that don't trust what these devils say about the criminal justice system, they're corrupt, Black people cheer. If I tell you that they want to keep us poor, Black folk cheer. If I tell you that they're poisoning us with diabetes drugs, high blood pressure drugs, I get cheers. But all of a sudden, why is it so controversial that for me to state that the same people that control your toxic diabetes and blood pressure drugs that you don't want to take, why do you think that these people would all of a sudden have altruistic desires when it comes to cancer? Yeah. And then on a deeper scale, when it comes to infectious diseases, which we know what their solution always. Why do we think that people who make billions of dollars, and live in mansions, they're taking care of entire generations based on the continuation of this cancer epidemic? Why in the world will we think that they will want that to stop? Why? What are they going to do if it stops? What, they going to join me and be a preacher? What, they going to become an engineer? They're going to get another job? We're talking about people's livelihoods are at stake. There are people right now paying for a college degree to try to fight against a disease that I'm sitting here telling you just comes from a weakened immune system that comes from eating yourself to death and toxic overload. So we're talking about a collapse of an entire industry if this truth gets out. And that's why they attack you so much when you come against the cancer industry and all of these other industries. And we just have to wake up, get out of the matrix. There is no disease going on in your body that does not have a cause, Black people. Nothing happens without a cause. It doesn't just happen. This isn't some This not some hocus pocus.
Nate, to that point, when you make that statement, so much of what we hear from the medical industry about what we suffer from, they say it's hereditary. How would you just respond to that statement?
All of us are predisposed if we do not take the necessary steps to eradicate the predisposition. Again, there's a term that eugenicists know about called epigenetics. Epigenetics means that they know that you can change your genes. You can change you can turn on your genes and even your DNA. You can modify the building blocks of your body based on certain things that you do. Whether it is what you eat or not eating, you can change your cell. What do you think happens, Brother Rock, when you see them success stories that I'm showing? Them success stories that I have for you, which is just a few of thousands, Brother Rock, you're watching someone literally change who they are. They are changing their lifestyle, and it is literally changing their genetics, changing their DNA to where they can go from being bedridden with rheumatoid arthritis to now being able to stand up and walk.
And flex their fingers when they
right,
couldn't unball their fist.
Right, exactly, and flex their fingers. And even since I've been here with you in Boca, you're witnessing me going through a transformation from being stressed out and emotional, eating on vegan junk food, and now you're seeing me transform back into the lean minister of wellness. I'm changing, and what I'm doing is changing. You're changing with the steps that you're making. So life, common sense tells us that no one is predisposed to just accept a disease. We can, if we use our brains and our logic, we know that even just by simply changing what we eat, we feel better, we think better, and we're able to do better. So that's the answer to that. So this
and Nate, let me follow up there, because I literally saw something today, and it made me think about you, because several shows ago, I'm pretty sure you brought this up. Something popped up on my feed. Somebody was, I think it was a pharmaceutical company advertising something. And what they said was that dementia is the new type 3 diabetes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, to that end, that's one that everybody knows about. You know, okay, my granddaddy had diabetes, and then my daddy, who had diabetes, drank just as much liquor as he did, and ate as many pig feet as he did, and he had diabetes also, and had to get his toe, foot, and leg amputated. But so that might make me or others predisposed. But what I think I'm hearing you say is you can disrupt and interrupt that predisposition to a point where, if you use food as thy medicine and medicine as thy food, that I don't necessarily have to have diabetes. That would first give you type 1, which is quote unquote pre-diabetes, and then diabetes, and now 3. And it talked about type 3 messing up your brain to the point where first you start to your brain becomes foggy, and then you can't put your thoughts together and can't talk.
Yeah.
And that's the onset of dementia, and that's all goddamn diabetes.
Yeah. And they're using predisposition now as a weapon of fear. Again, without fear, they collapse. Their entire industry is based on fear. To them, how they want you to look at predisposition is that there's nothing you can do. And and as a minister, the reason why that boils my blood to where I sweat out every time I preach this message is because that's blasphemy. Because by preaching predisposition, you're saying that God jacked you up and that he didn't give you no solution other than to go to your enemies and oppressors, and then they're just going to put. That's what it's saying. It's saying, I mean, in my world as a minister, when I hear predisposition, the way they teach it, what I hear is God screwed you up. You're screwed. He's stupid. He don't have no solutions for you. Come take this pill. That's what I hear. When how it should be articulated is, yes, we're human, we're fallible, and we all have certain weaknesses. But if we do follow the path that God has laid out for us, no, we can live a long life in excellent health. So if we eat the junk food, if we eat the satanic American diet, which is against the way that God instructed, yes, diseases will continue to ravage through your family. But the one who wakes up to the truth and says, I am going to stop this diabolical satanic way of eating and living, no, you will see a disruption in that. And that's what they don't want you to believe. They don't want you to believe that it can be disrupted. So according to them, I have to have 9 strokes like my father and all of his brothers. Those of you tuning in, you have to become diabetic. You have to have cancer. And what I'm telling you is that the devil is a lie. That's a satanic lie. No, you don't. There is a way that we can live and eat to where whatever weaknesses that we as fallible human beings have, those weaknesses do not have to express themselves. And what I'm saying is that the way that we strengthen and give our immune system what it needs to make sure that a normal cell never becomes cancerous is the medicine foods of God, especially what you're looking at on this screen, which is why there's a war against grapes with seeds in it. Because for the last 100 years, brothers and sisters, when Richard Nixon stood up in 1970 and declared a war on cancer, there was already a book out for 50 years written by a white woman documenting the powerful effects that grapes with the seed in it has on halting this process of the cancer cell going from normal to malignant. And the reason why is because grapes are an astringent fruit. And part of the reason why that cell goes, remember, a cancer cell becomes rotten because it's overloaded with pollutants and toxins. Well, grapes are an astringent fruit. It pulls toxins, pulls pollution out of the cell. So therefore, if you go on nothing but a grape fast, the power of the grapes to remove pollution from the cells, to clean the lymphatic system is extraordinary. And they've known this for 100 years. And that's why you can barely find grapes with the seed in it.
Yeah, to your point about barely finding seeds, grapes with seeds in them, folks. If you think Nathaniel is talking some ooh-ah, go to your local supermarket, wherever it might be, the big ones, mostly the little ones. It is rare. I've traveled. I live now in Boca Raton, Florida, and I've traveled to the major stores here, the major grocery joints, and I cannot find. And this includes Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. I could not find grapes with seeds in them, and let alone watermelon. But so I know that to be absolutely factual. Beloved, I know there's been a lot of stuff packed in here. Nate, would you go back and put the September 16th
Yes,
flyer?
sir.
Folks, we're gonna come back to the cancer piece, but I owe it to our partners
Yes.
that are helping us host this. And when I say our partners, I'm talking about Union Temple Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. It's right here on the flyer. It is, someone texted me while we've been talking to ask, was it going to be live streamed? The answer to that is no. I want to invoke the language and the lyrics of Gil Scott Heron. This revolution
Yes.
on September 16th ain't gonna be televised. We want you there. We want to
Yes.
see you. We want
Yes.
to touch you. We want to feel you. We want to talk
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
So Union Temple Baptist Church once again has been so gracious. They are a community-oriented ministry, and so they are allowing us to use their facility to put on this health fair that is not going to cost you a dime. You just got to get there. Ain't no fee to get in. So it's a free all natural health fair and seminar. And at this, when I said I owe our partners the respect and the courtesy of sharing the good news, is that's Union Temple. While I'm talking about Union Temple, those of you who've had any kind of prostate problems or anything else, the following week, September the 23rd, Union Temple has a prostate awareness day and walk. So they are inviting all to come out and join that and spread the awareness of the tragedy of what is happening with prostate cancer. So as I tell you, that they are a community ministry. They getting out in the community with a walk through the community. Further, we are so utterly blessed to have Urban One, that was founded by, our dear friend Kathy Hughes. They have agreed to help us spread this word of health and eradication of diseases, and to tell you about how you can improve yourself, how you can save your life. So my hat is off to Urban One and to the entire team that Kathy Hughes has established there through the years. So I just want to say a public thank you to both Urban One, Kathy Hughes, and Union Temple Baptist Church, led by Pastor Anika Wilson. Nate, I wanted to get that in.
Yes.
Now, but I want to go back to the if you can. There's a title here that's attached to today's broadcast: Why Black People Die from Cancer Quicker Than White People. Before we shut down, can you just address that?
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons is because we're different. And we talked about that. I refer people to our now 60,000 view podcast on the war on melanin, in which that whole broadcast was about how different we are. So, for the sake of time, and man, this was one of our most jam-packed, as I knew it was. And because I get very emotional about cancer, because I just know that they're purposely keeping people ignorant. And like I said, I just get sick and tired of these movies talking about cancer like it's just some unknown scourge that just pops on people out of nowhere. So brothers and sisters.
So I got a right to be pissed off to say that, that they go to the moon, but it just in my simplistic way of seeing that, it can go to the moon, find their way to the moon and back, but can it find their way to impact and help people to cure cancer?
Because they controlled by the industries that weaken the immune system. Because if the knowledge exists, Brother Rock, that all cancer is an immunodeficiency disease, stop even calling it cancer. It's an immunodeficiency disease. If people knew that and knew how simple this was, which is why everyone tuning in, share this video, 217 watching, share, share. If everyone knew this simplistic knowledge and then asked the basic question, what weakens the immune system? What strengthens the immune system? There goes the billion-dollar sugar industry, the billion-dollar meat industry. There goes your hot dogs, your Franks, your Doritos, your Lays. And do they want that to happen? So that's your answer right there. Black folk, the first primary thing that we need, again, watch our podcast on Big Pharma's War on Melanin to understand how different we are. And one of the big differences between our people and white people melanated is that it increases the need for vitamin D3. So I highly recommend, and vitamin K2 helps vitamin D3 to absorb. So we are grossly deficient in vitamin D3. The cancer industry knows this. There should, if you want to end the disparity between Black people getting more aggressive forms of cancer and dying quicker from cancer, if they really cared, then they will have a concerted effort to make sure that all Black people are sufficient in their levels of vitamin D3. But brothers and sisters, the Bible teaches the cursed is the one who trusts in man for strength where there is no help. These people have been destroying and warring against our people for thousands of years. So there's no help coming from them. So get your vitamin D3 with K2, and at the ministerofwellness.com, I have a very, very high quality organic version of D3 and K2 that you can get together, and has my label on it, which assures the highest quality. And I religiously take one vitamin D3 tablet and one vitamin K2 tablet every day. If I'm indoors a lot, I'll take two. So I take my own. And so I highly recommend, even if it's not my own, this is one of the biggest reasons why we have that cancer disparity. And then the other reasons that just make us as a different, unique, melanated people. Again, we did an hour long on that topic with the war on melanin. So I refer people to that video for more information about understanding the important physiological differences between melanated people and non-melanated people.
Nate, man, this has been a dynamic broadcast in my not so humble opinion. Thank you, man. You brought the heat, you brought the fire, you brought the knowledge. Beloved, please don't perish for a lack of knowledge. The Minister of Wellness, Nathaniel Jordan, is bringing it to you. Share about what he is doing. You had something else you wanted to say?
Yes, sir. Just before you close us out officially, brother, right? It's just in 1 minute. I do want to let everybody know where to register for September 16th. The ministerofwellness.com under health seminars. The ministerofwellness.com under health seminars. You heard the elder himself. We're not live streaming. Make your way there. Also, you have 9 days left for my 2 new books to get a 25% off signed edition. 2 new books. The other one is Vaccines in the Bible, so I can't show that on the screen. The ministerofwellness.com. Only through ordering through my website can you get 25% off and a signed edition. And then also the Black Health Disparities package. If you have any comorbidities, I created this package for you where you get my 5 top bestsellers for half off the total cost. And then my sources are telling me that lockdowns are coming, and they're really pushing the increase in viral outloads. Don't wait for the next pandemic. Don't wait for the next lockdown. Get your immune support emergency stash, my most important herbal supplement for the immune system. 50% off 7 bottles. The ministerofwellness.com. The ministerofwellness.com. Thank you, Brother Rob.
Yes. Okay, beloved. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. I'm just not good at that part of saying, like the Rock Newman Show 2.0, yes. If you would share it and tell your friends, family, and everybody you know to tune in to us. We're going to try to continue to speak truth to power and to give you all the knowledge that we can impart with you. And we do that fearlessly. Thank you for joining us today. And until the next time, go in peace.
God bless.